Sometimes you just have one of those days where you wish you could destroy every filthy human on Earth. And trust me, I have a lot of experience with destroying humanity. I wonder what that says about me. Anyway, if you're having one of those days, I recommend you look no further than Extinction Day. This is an upcoming apocalypse simulator which now has a demo available on Steam, and it is developed by Dry Studios, the same folks who made Bio Inc. You guys might remember that on the channel from a while ago. I thought it looked pretty interesting, so we're going to take a look at this today and I'll show you how this game works. Now, of course, do be aware that as we play through this, everything you see is subject to change because it is only a demo, and there are some things I would actually recommend for improving this, but I'll save those thoughts toward later on. So let's play with Scenario 1. This is as far as you can go with the demo, and our goal, obviously, is to terminate all humans, making use of different natural disasters. In this case, we have storms, tornadoes, respiratory outbreaks, asteroid impacts, but the full game will have a lot more options for you to pick and choose from. Let's play on a harder difficulty. I don't really know all the best strategies here. This game's a little bit vague in some ways, but we're learning, so let's push ourselves just a little bit. And here we go. So looking at the world, we can see all of the filthy humans and how they are spread throughout the world, represented by these little blue people that are walking around. I hate them so much. I want them all to die. To do that, we will be spending some resources to upgrade our disasters. If I hit tab, we can see what we have to work with. So we have souls. This is our first resource used to upgrade the disasters and make them more potent. We also have influence used to get extra abilities or enhancements to our disasters. And we have corruption points, which will eventually undo the countermeasures that the humans will deploy to slow us down. Over on the left, you can see different regions of the world and their health, representing all the different people who are still alive. It's kind of like Bio Inc. Instead of having bodily systems like the circulatory or the renal systems, instead you have these regions. Same general idea though. We want all of these to go down to 0 in order to win the game. So to do that, let's go to our disasters and choose our first disaster. We can choose from the outbreak or the storm, basically just unending climate change effects. I'm going to go for the outbreak. I think it's a little bit more subtle. We'll place it here in, let's say, South America. I think that's going to be fine. So this is now deploying, and when it is done, all of these people can be affected by the outbreak and eventually start dying off. We can see some of their attributes for the regions, though. We can see that they live in a hot country, it's unstable. This can all be relevant, but most importantly, we can also do a few enhancements by spending our influence in order to get some upgrades. So, for example, let's say I want to go for faster souls harvesting as we kill people here. Like, that could be pretty good, so let's just go ahead and pick up the accelerated harvest, like so. We can also spend influence in other ways. If I click here, we can see this tree, and this looks a little bit like stuff from Bio Inc. as well. What I want to do is go ahead and get increased fear, and then start looking for ways to upgrade our economy game. Hold on, it appears to be slightly bugged. I can't click on this. That is interesting. Let's try that one more time. There we go. I want to go over here to trust issues and try to increase the amount of influence we will get as we play through the game. Because souls will get naturally as we spread. Influence we can only get from these resource drops that will appear here. So we could harvest some souls, but I almost always go for influence because it's the more valuable and rare resource, and you kind of need a lot of it, unfortunately, in order to do just about anything. So I really do want to pick some of that up and start generating more influence. I want to focus on boosting up our economy, right, with things like trust issues. Loss of faith increases the number of souls that are in territories and stuff like that. So let's just go ahead and pick up the trust issues. Now, I am surprised that so far we haven't gained any souls. I don't know if this... Oh, and we just got one right there. I don't know if this little orange bar that's moving up represents anything. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But with the souls, we can get some upgrades. So now we can click on this and see we have a sort of talent tree. Spend some points here, for example, and we can boost up how much damage is done to the population of a region that is affected. And obviously, the more damage you do, the faster people die, presumably the more souls that you are going to be able to get, which is great. Now, these disasters are going to be able to spread throughout the world, but to do that, you need to understand what energy is. So right here, we can see that by operating in Caracas, the outbreak is costing itself 4 energy per week. Down in the bottom left, we can see we are currently spending 4 out of 15 energy per week, so I'm producing 15. So we can stay here indefinitely, but as we spread into different regions, this could cost me 5 energy per week. This could cost me 8. So as we spread, eventually, it's going to start pushing us to our limits. Let's go ahead and grab this respiratory drop with more influence like so. So right now, yeah, let's go ahead and spread into New York. So now we're going to be spreading 9 out of 15. That means that every disaster has kind of a natural limit to how much they are able to spread before they kind of run out of momentum, and you're going to need to either get new disasters or finish off a region so you can free up that energy and then go somewhere else, right? That's kind of how that's going to work. Gonna wait for one more influence point here. There it is. That we can go for trust issues, trying to get even more influence as some of these drops come off. I'm just trying to fly under the radar a little bit and just get as many points as I can. That's kind of what I'm looking to do. Now, over in the top left, you can see that the humans have a certain amount of alertness. The higher this is, the faster they are going to react to us as we continue doing things. And if they go too fast, then we're just going to lose the game, and that would be bad. Let's go over here to Buenos Aires. We can go for some more spread, continue affecting all of South America. Could go for some additional enhancements by spending some of these points. I mean, New York's not outstanding. We could go for a more accelerated harvest here, though, because I do really want more souls. I think I'll go ahead and do it. Yeah, more points is still more points. That's not a bad thing for me. We've spread a little bit toward Europe. If I had a lot more energy, we could do something there as well. You can get more energy over here in the upgrades. We could boost how much passive energy production we get, so that could be good. There are also going to be enhancers to boost up the energy efficiency, which is going to reduce the cost by 20%. That kind of thing can happen as well, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Let's go for a bit more of something. How about some more attack size? If I can get one more soul set up here, I'll do that so we can affect larger areas and thereby, again, just kind of keep stacking up and snowballing. I don't know what the perfect strategy is here as far as how much you can get away with before the alertness becomes an issue. You can spend some points to just go ahead and try to reduce the alertness a little bit, that is a thing. But instead I'm going to go ahead and start boosting up the number of souls and territories so I can just keep getting a little bit more gas to work with. We're starting to build this up a little bit faster here, and this is why I never use the resource drops for souls, because it feels like I can get souls, but without being able to get any influence, that's an actual problem. We've spread over here now, so we're starting to spread into Mexico. That's good. We could go for another disaster with the storms, but I'll need 22 souls in order to pull that off. I'm going to go ahead and increase the number of affected people here. Again, that alertness is starting to tick up a little bit, which is making me nervous. So we're going to go ahead and try to reset that a little bit. If I can get up to 8 points, I'll do that again. It doesn't actually go down. It just slows the growth a little bit. So I'm just trying to buy myself time to continue spreading throughout the world a little bit faster. Now we're getting some points coming in. This is starting to make some progress. We could kill a little bit faster. If I do that, it might be a bit much. I think increasing souls by 50% would be pretty good. That would get me a lot more to work with, so I'll spend 18 points trying to boost this up. So now we got a lot more points in these regions, so I will be able to get a lot more souls. That's good. What else do we want to do here? Well, I mean, we could go for another upgrade to our influence. We could try to slow down the awareness a little bit more, or I could go for energy production, which isn't a bad idea. Decrease the cost of new abilities. That's a thing I could make use of. Sure. I don't really know what's going to be best here. I just need more resource drops. Now, the resource drops are just very inconsistent. They don't come very often, and that can be a problem for me. I'm going to go ahead and save up a little bit and just start picking up some storms. I mean, the alertness is already picking up, and it's going to be an issue. Let's just go ahead and place this somewhere else, let's say around Saigon, so that we will be able to start spreading into new regions with a whole new energy pool that I can pull from. And of course, this also has even more enhancers that we could make use of. Let's say that I wanted to go for rapid spread, increasing how quickly it spreads throughout the region, so it can move into, let's say, China and India, and then hopefully I get to move just a little bit faster, right? Stuff like that. That's the kind of stuff that I can do. And now I can go for more upgrades over here, increasing the attack size and wind speed of the storms so they can affect more regions. All it's going to do is basically just place down a tornado every couple of seconds in new areas, and we can make that more and more impactful so we can kill more and more people. Though that alertness is now starting to build up pretty rapidly, and there we go. Humans are now more vigilant against us. They're going to try deploying some countermeasures against us. I'm going to try to slow that down, going for bureaucratic inefficiency, but it's probably not going to be enough. Let's be completely honest with ourselves. What I'd like to do is actually just go ahead and finish off some regions so that we can free up some energy and go in other places, but we're not there yet. For that, I need to start doing a lot more damage. Let's go for heat resistance, do more hot damage, since we've mostly affected hot areas with the respiratory disease, so that should help me go a little bit faster. We could go for more damage. Let's do that. I'm just trying to kill a lot faster here and start finishing this off, because these countermeasures can be very annoying, so I'd like to just go ahead and clear them all out as fast as I can. Let's go for some more energy here, because we know we're going to need that. I could also make it a little bit cheaper to get my abilities up and running, but that's not so much the issue. It's energy that's going to matter. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to keep building up my disaster containment failure and try to have enough energy that I can start spreading the respiratory disease around even further. That's what I'm going to do to start things off, all right? So I'd like to spread into, let's say, over here in Africa. All right, we have our first countermeasure. So right now, if we click down here, we can see that the disaster has been contained and will not expand to a new location. All right, well, the good news is there's nowhere for it to go that we haven't already impacted. This countermeasure does nothing. But some of them are going to do things like, let's say, heal the population, and you start reversing your progress. If you want to get rid of it, that's where you need corruption points. So by finishing off, let's say, these areas, we could spend some points here, get corruption points, and then what I would do is I can spend points to spin the wheel of possibly overruling. So in this case, a 2 out of 5 chance, spin the wheel, that this gets eliminated, and we can spend extra points to increase the chance that that is going to happen. So that is a thing. It can be incredibly frustrating, though, when you keep trying to do that, and then nothing seems to work. All right? Oh, God. It is so many times I've had that happen, but anyway. All right, what else do we want to do here? Let's try going for boosts to the tornadoes a little bit more. Then I'm going to save up some points, and we're going to go for some asteroid impacts, so I can start trying to target down a region of the world and finish it off as fast as I can. We can spread to a new location. We can go down to Australia. Not what I would have liked, but fine. We'll spend the energy. We might as well just keep trying to make some progress along there. And now I'm going to go ahead and grab those asteroids. This is an activatable ability, so you can see it's building up some energy, and once we get to our threshold, we'll be able to spend it. Let's say I want to finish off North America faster. I'll go ahead and drop a meteor and just do a lot more damage. Meteors are very, very, very good, and I want to make use of them as much as I can. So let's see, what else could we be doing here? If I could just get a little bit more energy production for our respiratory disease, maybe we could do something with that. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and grab the disaster containment failure then, just trying to boost that up. So now we're up to 18 there. That's not quite enough. A lockdown in New York. All right, so 50% of this ability's effect will be silenced. I don't really know what this does. What does silence mean in the game as far as a countermeasure? Do I care? I don't know. Maybe I should, but somehow I do not. Let's go ahead and start boosting up the power of our meteor strikes so we can make use of it more frequently and ideally just do more damage around in general. Finish off a region if we can. So maybe I want to do, let's say, a quick meteor strike. Let's say where I see a lot of population that's currently unaffected. Boom! Okay, that didn't do a lot. The meteor is going to become significantly better as time goes on, though. Do not worry. Let's go over here to Los Angeles. I know this is expensive, but we're going to go ahead and pick this up, and then we're going to do some daily energy efficiency costs. So we're down to 19 out of 18 points in order to start affecting this new region. And then I'll spend some points, let's say, getting the RNA resistance, and that should solve my energy issues. So now at least we're affecting another region over there. How are the storms doing? They have still not spread beyond what I would have liked. I kind of wanted them to get up into like China and stuff like that, but they have not up to this point. We could try to make this a little bit more impactful, and I'll go ahead and boost up the damage of these storms a little bit so I can start finishing off the regions. You may have noticed the storms are not doing an absolute ton. Now, the resource drop means more influence for us. Just keep that going, and of course, continue boosting up the power of our meteor. I'm going to make it actually cheaper to use this so that we can get more of these more frequently, and then probably just keep using it in regions where I think that people aren't dying fast enough. Now, one thing that's annoying, I see these little blue people, and they just didn't take any damage from getting hit by the meteor in what should have been its range, at least I thought. So it's kind of hard to tell sometimes with your active abilities if you're actually hitting what you need to. I should have, I thought there, but I guess not. I guess not. So what I think is honestly good is whenever you have a region with a lot of spread out population, like the Americas, or maybe like Africa or Saigon or Australia, let the diseases, let the disasters take care of those. Probably save things like the meteors for where you have really dense populations like China, India, Europe, and so on. And that's probably where you're going to get the most bang for your buck, so to speak. Let's go ahead and spread this over here into Mumbai. This is a little bit too much energy, but again, if we do ourselves an energy efficiency module, that solves that. What is this? The Red Cross is being deployed. Okay, so now we actually do want to try and go for some corruption here. So what I'll do is I'll spend some points, and we'll pick up the corruption here. That's 6 points I can work with. So as I said, we're going to have a wheel to spin. I'm going to go ahead and give ourselves a 60% chance of success. And we got it. Cool. So the healing is going to be gone. Otherwise, this population would have gradually regenerated, and that wouldn't have felt very good for me at all. I'm going to go ahead and pick up the impact cloud. So now our meteors are going to have kind of a lingering damage over time effect. So let's just go ahead and start hitting parts of China. This means that people will start gradually taking damage like so. The meteor becomes very, very, very powerful as time goes on. The more often you're using it, the more points it starts generating, the better everything's going to get. Caracas has fallen. All right, so that means I have a few extra points that I can work with now, energy, I should say, in some place. We could try spreading the disease to Europe. It's a little expensive. Africa, maybe. Still kind of on the expensive side. I can't really make use of that as it currently stands. But if I had a bit more energy production, maybe then we could. Boost up the power of energy efficiency. We could do that. That gets me still in the 19 power. It's not quite enough. I just need a lot more influence. More influence means more energy. More energy means more diseases. More diseases, or disasters, sorry, means just generally speaking more win. That's exactly what I'm shooting for there. So, yeah, anyway. Do a lot of damage over there. Cool. Whole load more points comes in like so. Let's go ahead and boost up the clouds. Now we have radioactive debris going on there. People are trying to now heal up down here in Sydney. So I'm going to try to override this. The energy cost and the healing seem to be the two worst things that can happen. But even though I got rid of these countermeasures, the humans are going to start building up more, and they will be able to continue getting more things to annoy me. So don't think that we are solved here. We most certainly are not. I'm going to go for DNA efficiency, making the energy efficiency even better. So now I do think that we could spread into, let's say, I'm going to go into Africa here. And that's not going to hurt me from an energy perspective, so that's looking very, very solid, very respectable. What else can I do with 12 points? We could try making our storms a little bit better since they're kind of falling behind. Let's get coastal weather at 20 souls. So I am affecting mostly like oceanic regions and stuff, just doing a lot of extra damage there. Seems like a smart way to go. Keep dropping more stuff. And now we have reached the next stage of the human evolution. They've realized there is no way to escape this planet and whatever malevolent god is trying to kill them. So they're just going to try to build up a spaceship and just evacuate as aggressively as they can. This is where now we have a limited amount of time before everything kind of comes crashing down. So if we want to win the game, we got to move fast now. We really can't afford to sit around for too much longer. I'm going to go ahead and pick up that coastal damage for 10 HP there. Solid enough, I think. If we can make it cheaper to, let's say, use some of our active abilities so I can use more of my meteors, that seems like it would be a good idea. What do you have over here? Energy cost increased. That's a problem. I would need to get more corruption in order to deal with that. We can afford to pick up some points there. I'm going to spend, again, 60% chance. I have had times where I played this. There we go. I have had times where I played this and I got very, for God's sake, unlucky and just kept missing every one of my spins. And that feels really, really bad and annoying when that does happen. Like, super duper bad and annoying when that does happen. So, oh, we're out of energy there. Yep, knew that was going to happen. So, yeah, I don't like that randomized mechanic. I understand why it exists. I just think it's really, really irritating. I would like to reduce the cost of using these storms some more, go for the Cosmic Twin, and that leads to Cosmic Precision. I'm going to hold off on that one. That doesn't seem as important to me as, let's say, expand levels, amplify damage doesn't seem important. Let's just do more damage with our respiratory stuff. I'm just trying to get a lot more points. I'm going to really struggle here from an energy perspective, aren't I? We can go for 15 per week. God, I can't even override this. Like, it is just that bad. I have to go for more corruption somehow. Let's go for arc progress. So whenever a region falls, it resets a little bit of the progress. It's not a lot, but it's something. And then I kind of have to go for, I was going to say, let's go for influence control so it costs less influence for human countermeasures. So I don't know what that means. Like, corrupt human countermeasures, I can overrule these here, but where's an influence cost? This is corruption points. There is no influence cost that I'm obviously seeing here. So this may be one of those things where, like, I'm just blind and don't understand how something works. Or it may be that this is something that's poorly explained in the game, and that should be explained later on in some way. Keep dropping some of these asteroids. Big areas being affected now means look how much damage we're doing to Europe, even though we never had a disaster over here in the first place. Buenos Aires has fallen. That's great. What else can we do? What else can we do? What else can we do? I can make this even better, but I'm not really worried about the precision. I just want to make our storms better. Let's go for the hot and dry damage. We'll do that twice, so now we do a lot of damage there with our storms, so people are going to start dying pretty quickly. I would like to think that Asia is going to fall, but they're actually surprisingly doing okay. And now they have healing by 10 HP. Gosh, I wish I had a bit more points to work with. Oh, for God's sake. All right, corruption points there. Let's first try to solve this, because I cannot afford to continue. Why won't this let me click? There we go. I can't afford to have this here, so now we can free up our energy, and the storm's back online. And then I have to try to get rid of this, so I'll spend the rest of my points here. Come on, there we go. All right, so now we're not healing. I'm just trying to finish off these regions. By finishing off regions, we are slightly resetting a little bit of the arc. Not a lot, mind you, but a little bit. Let's go for a big drop here in India, try to finish this off faster. That's a lot of radioactive fallout. What about my respiratory disease? We have enough energy at this point. We can go ahead and just deploy here in Europe and try to finish that off. North America is officially down for the count, so that's looking good. Let's hit a big area here in Africa, trying to help that along. This is where I like having the meteors. I do think that the meteors is quite nice. Lots more influence to pick up, lots of points that I'm not currently spending. Again, I don't think the precision is necessary. I could go for tornado, but they're just, I don't know, they're not great. I don't love the tornado. Let's instead increase the attack range and damage of our storms. I'm just trying to really start stacking that up so we can start hitting places like India and these regions a little bit faster. I really need these to go down to free up energy so I can hit up more spots. It's really taking its sweet, sweet time, though, so I don't know. Maybe it's going to work, maybe it's not. Let's continue hitting India, I guess. I want to finish this off quickly. So that's a lot of damage, lots of more points coming in, more resource drops. What else can we do? What else can we do? What else can we do? We can go for attack size tornado cluster, and I don't know if I care about critical hit chance. Maybe we just go for more attack size like so our storms just keep hitting larger and larger and larger areas. With our influence, we could try to reduce some more costs, but instead what I'm going to do is start spending this to boost up our damage abilities. So let's say attack size of abilities and damage goes up by a little bit. Attack size of active abilities could go up by another 20%, so the meteors start becoming even more impactful. I mean, the arc's almost at 40%. We're going reasonably quickly here, but I don't want to slow down. I don't want to slow down for a moment. Let's go ahead and boost up cold damage with our respiratory disease, since we should be affecting some areas with that now. Not many, but at least some. Come on, hit that, India. There we go. That's a lot of damage. That's a lot of damage. Okay, we're starting to see that burn down very, very fast. And once that's down for the count, I can move the storms over into northern China, and that should be a little bit more effective. Again, we're reaching our 40 points so fast, I'm barely even able to keep up with some of this. Critical hit chance, sure, I'll just keep doing things like that. It's fine. The storms are really starting to pick up some gas now. Like, they're really doing their job. And this is where, I don't know, I feel like it would probably be very easy for me to just accidentally go under the radar for so long that we can't build up our lethality quickly. And that's definitely the challenge of the game, right? The challenge of the game is going to be figuring out that sweet balance of how quickly do I ramp up, let's say, my economy and my point generation versus how much do I ramp up the severity, knowing full well that the humans are almost certainly going to detect me, and then we're going to have some problems, right? That's kind of what the real challenge is. It's the same as things like Plague Inc. It's the same as Bio Inc. Same general gist. Anyway, we're starting to burn this region down very quickly. Saigon has fallen. That means I have even more energy to work with. We could go over now into the Middle East, which I will do, so the storms are continuing to do their thing. I just want to keep burning this all down. I just want to keep burning it all down as fast as I can. Let's go for more wind speed there. Sure, more regions being affected. The more we finish off regions, the more I can just continue focusing on others. That's my entire thought process. We're going to hit Japan. That region's now down, so that frees up even more. Can we move the storm down here? We can. Let's go ahead and do that. So every region of the world except for Russia up here is now about to be affected, but we can hit that too. And we finished off the Middle East and other things too. Like, we're going really fast now. Really, 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 really fast. I love it. Okay, so we'll drop a quick meteor along this region. That's a lot of radioactive fallout. This region's going to fall extremely quickly. And that leaves only Africa left, which is only 1 or 2 big meteor storms away from falling. Let's drop one here in the middle of this area. That's a lot more going down, so we drop 2 and 16, 15, 13. Oh yeah, every single storm hitting this area is going to finish it off. We could even have multiple disasters in the same region, but there we go, we win. So that's kind of how this works, right? It's a slow build up and then you go from there. Now, the question is, is this going to be fun? And I think there's a few things that this game has going for it that could be really cool. The more variety I have in terms of disasters, the more fun that's going to be. The more they play differently from each other, the better. And since every one of them has like different perks, like again, you saw the respiratory stuff is really good for energy efficiency. The storms really like to spread and then do lots of area of effect damage, right? Every different disaster being different would be pretty cool. I think the biggest problem that the game has is actually the resource system. I don't love that there are 3 different resources to play with. Souls, we can get passively. We saw how that worked. But what's the point of having the resource drops if 95% of the time you're just going to get the same thing with influence? You might as well just make them influence pop-ups, or better yet, move down to only having 1 resource, and then you have to choose, are you going to spend it on upgrades for your disaster, or are you going to spend it on some of your abilities, right? Just like you would with BioInc. The corruption mechanic is also a little bit annoying. I mean, if I'm going to spend the points for just a chance to disrupt something, I'd rather actually just get enough souls that I can power through whatever countermeasures are there. Like, you almost want to ignore them. The corruption just doesn't feel quite right to me. But yeah, I think there's some potential in this game, and if you're looking for an apocalyptic god simulator where you just want to destroy the world and a load of vindictive nastiness, well then here you go. I mean, this could be pretty good for you. And we can't see it in the demo yet, but there are going to be some upgrades, right, to the disasters and stuff like that. Like, I can't get any of these upgrades, but it does mean that certain disasters are going to be more impactful, kind of like a roguelike. The more you play, the better it's going to be. There's also going to be some perks. I don't know what these do, but if they're like BioInc, they're going to boost you up in some way so you can take on harder and harder difficulties. Overall, I think this game has some pretty cool promise. I think it could be pretty fun, but I do want to see it continue getting polished a little bit more, and I do want to have a much better tutorial system so people don't feel lost. It's a little hard to figure out what strategies you want to employ in the game. Once we figure it out, though, I think this is going to be great. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If so, I would ask you to hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe, hit that notify bell, and I will see you guys next time.